Hello, people. So, we are back, and today we're going to try to fix what happened yesterday. A combination of being tilted, being very exhausted, and double tasking with streaming. Uh, all of that basically amounted to me not playing as well as I should have. But we're tryharding today. Essentially, we're not going to be playing for diversity's sake and exploration. We're going to play what is the meta comp. The thing that everyone wonders if they can even beat with anything in the game if it is established. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, this is the Fang Phoenix Vulcan combo. It's such a solid core with some key items that make it even more efficient than it should, that if established early enough and with enough tempo, I just put it that way, there's no realistic way you can beat it. The question is how you're supposed to get there. The opening cards very rarely give you the opportunity to just transition into the general Vulcan Phoenix stuff very easily. But for instance, here we're actually gonna pick a cost control specialist, and we're actually going to be selling the Stormcallers. Stormcallers are surprisingly good in the early game, but they fall off a cliff if your opponent establishes a lead and proceeds to build anti-missile turrets. I think they fixed the bug where you can put any number of anti-missile turrets on the board, and you can only put 8 at most, and if you do that, you can't put down shields. So there is that going, but generally speaking, it's not up to discussion. It's just not worth your time to essentially break your back with some Stormcallers in the long term. You can still keep them around. There's no problem with that. Just make sure to get rid of them eventually, unless the opponent somehow magically does not do anything about them, because there's like multiple different avenues for countering specifically Stormcallers. Who knows? Maybe it works out. That's the thing about this game. Player agency changes a lot in terms of how you approach game and what can and cannot work. Let me check the stream real quick. Yeah, seems everything is working just about. Alright then, let's see what happens. We're probably gonna lose the first round. Yes, quick supply specialist. Huh. I think we are just barely good enough to handle this with some extra resources to spare. Nice. If you're wondering, we have to transition into Phoenixes from here. The Arclights are there just to provide early countermeasures against crawlers. Okay, this is actually really scary, elite crawlers. Like, even a level 1 Vulcan can barely handle these. Now, what do I want to do. How likely is my opponent to go elite crawlers and try to cheese me out of this game? I think they're very likely to do that actually, so I'm gonna put down some extra copies of arc lights and down some missile turrets here, here. This should be good enough to handle most of what my opponent can throw at me. It's not gonna be perfect, but this should be good enough for now. Okay, my opponent did not do the meme, but it would have been very scary if he did. Oh, there's some spectators here. How nice. Never again some spectators. So, let us continue. Again, we're gonna be losing most of this game if our opponent is playing correctly. And there it is. Barrier. That's the thing that makes this entire comp tick essentially. So we cannot establish our Vulcans just yet. I don't want to make that too obvious. All we're gonna do for now is prep. We're gonna upgrade this arc light and probably sell it a little bit later. And maybe one unit of phoenixes. Can stem the bleeding a little bit, but I actually want all the resources I can get my hands on. Yeah, and my opponent also has figured out that it's probably the thing that they should be getting now. It is a little bit sad. This is still technically the meta composition, but who knows? Maybe we just get there. My opponent invested exceptionally heavily into chaff, and somehow we're still doing fine. I'm not sure if it's thanks to just these stun callers, or our opponent is just being very kind to us. Speed this up a little bit. Oh, I lost this round, so no point in reminiscing. Now, here is where things get complicated. None of this is particularly relevant right now. Mobilized battleship is annoying, but our phoenixes should be able to handle it. So from here we go Vulcan, plop plop. So whoever has the fewest skills out of these, so you. Provide cover for these guys, provide cover here, and then immediately invest into range. We should do this as well, just as a way of compensating for our distinct lack of board control. But yeah, our opponent went essentially all in on Chaff, like completely all in. And just so happens that this is perfect for this exact situation. The Vulcans are not gonna get too much XP immediately, but the level 2 Mustangs help out a little bit. Hilarious enough. We also need for more chaff in general, which is gonna be our fangs, and we need extra range on the phoenixes so that they don't casually get sniped by all these marksmen. But yeah, they should be plenty enough to win. And the side effect of doing this exact strategy is that you deal a consistently large amount of damage to your opponent the moment you establish yourself. It's not close, essentially, that's what I mean. Alright, I do like Smoke Bomb a lot. It helps a lot against the annoying marksman. Yep, oops, that was a mistake. Alright, so we need to do this into this. Thankfully, my opponent seems to be exceptionally conservative with how they've been playing this game. Outside of the ridiculous chaff spam they've actually committed themselves towards. I don't mind that too much. In fact, I feel like that is very likely a way of losing the game for my opponent long term. But we'll see, we'll see. It's definitely going to be interesting going forward. Alright, so yeah. So they unfortunately So when your opponent does that, which is generally the instinct for most players, you have two options. You can either invest even heavier into Phoenixes, which you definitely should, just in general, because your Phoenixes are your single target DPS, or you can go Ignite. Ignite essentially turns anything that has a lot of HP into mush? Oh, slightly roasted mush. So definitely recommend doing that. And then it's a question of how many things with shields you have left, so that you don't want the fortress to connect with the actual Vulcan. Tank production line is amazing. Definitely taking that. Taking this. Getting our portable shields. And then we're gonna overload and go as many fangs with extra range as possible. And actually we're gonna put them here. Alright, so the Phoenix's job in this case is to pop the overshield, which is gonna be the next thing my opponent will spec into if they are playing correctly. They definitely have the items, so it's definitely on their minds. Now the question is, do they commit to this strategy or not? My assumption is that they are going to try at least. Yeah, so it's here. Thankfully, our level 2 Phoenixes are gonna pop that shield relatively quickly. But we're definitely going to need marksmen on them. Yeah, elite marksmen on the Phoenixes to get through these shields relatively quickly. It's also a very strange choice, generally speaking. And the main reason why it's a strange choice is because, well, you probably are aware of this, but fortresses already have a upgrade for specifically shields. Alright, so now the Vulcan handles the rest. The tanks are actually going to be very good at additional chaff, which is going to be quite useful here. Alright. You do lose the left, which is definitely unfortunate. Ooh boy, amplifying core would have been so nice. But our items are already pretty good as is. We might need an additional Vulcan though, which is actually unusual. We're gonna need an additional Vulcan, we're gonna need some extra Phoenixes. The overshield will be nice. We can definitely start selling off the arc lights. They're not actually all that useful as it is. Not anymore. Let's keep this one here. Alright, this should be enough for the time being. Level 2 Vulcans are gonna handle our little situation nicely. The additional Vulcan should be able to clear out the middle a little bit faster so that we don't get overwhelmed as quickly. Very interesting that my opponent decided to go mass Mustang of all things. Like, don't get me wrong, Mustangs are nice and everything, they're actually really powerful units in this game. But by no means are they actually like a good idea against someone that's going or spamming specifically Vulcans. We are gonna lose this a little bit because the marksmen are currently outranging our Phoenixes by a little bit, but that's nothing we can't handle. Deployment specialist is amazing. Skill specialist, not super relevant. Definitely gonna need to invest into as many Phoenixes as possible. We don't really want to overload Nexus and stuff. If we can avoid it, it's usually not the best idea in the world to do that, since it is technically a long-term downside. And yeah, this should be enough to handle the round. Yeah, I would like to do something about this, but not this round. Right, yeah, so our opponent is going super heavy on the Mustangs. So if they continue massing Mustangs, the other thing we're gonna be doing is going with incendiary bomb, which is actually not normally a thing you need to do. But Mustangs, when they actually start to mass too heavily, unironically become such high DPS that you need the extra help. You just straight up need it. Like here, for instance, Incendiary would basically clear out all of this and more. And we are gonna have an easy time clearing out the Marksman as a secondary from after this point as well. Now the question is, can we survive the round? Because I don't think we are. It's gonna be very difficult to survive because of the mass Mustang nonsense going on. Alright. No biggie. Actually, hilariously enough, I would take Incendiary Bomb, we actually don't need it. This is one of the few cases where that is not necessary. But this definitely is going to help a lot. We do this, we do this. What else? Ah yes, the Incendiary. Definitely need some extra range for the round. That's going to be the case every round going forward. Do we need some extra fangs? I think so. Can never go wrong with extra fangs. The more the merrier. General rule of thumb, I guess. And we can definitely handle this a little bit better over here. And we definitely might want this. Alright. This should allow us to clear out all of both opponents' nonsense very quickly. And if everything went as planned, we should be able to win this with a crushing victory. Hopefully. Because it's not guaranteed. Alright, yeah, that's it, that's the one. Now all that's left is the massive amount of marksmen, which we should be able to outrange currently. Nice, alright. Not exactly a crushing victory, but a very powerful victory. Okay, this is an interesting situation. Do we go for Range Specialist or do we go for Lightning Storm? Range Specialist allows our Phoenixes to finish the job, but we're vulnerable to Lightning Storm specifically. Electromagnetic Blast would be nice, but I absolutely know that the opponent is going to cover the battlefield with energy shields. That's not going to be particularly potent. I think that we have to go Range Specialist. And the unfortunate part is that we can't really prevent some of our Phoenixes from dying. But just to make it so that our opponent can't overwhelm our Phoenixes with Marksmen, we're gonna have to put down some extras. On the sides, probably, where the Lightning Storm is less likely to actually happen. Obviously some extra range here. not gonna be particularly useful. That we can definitely make sure that the fangs have extra range too. And a missile here, just for convenience. Oh, they didn't go with lightning storm. How convenient for them. Unfortunately, this is gonna be extremely laggy. Like, actually, like, a massive lag fest. But actually, now that the fangs are not running to their death, they are surviving and providing extra protection against the massive amount of marksmen that we would have. And the range specialist for the win. Yeah, GG's. Was a very good attempt by the opponent though. They got us in the red zone. But yeah, now you definitely start seeing why this is meta. And why this exact composition of units is not just important, but it is quite literally the thing you need to beat. Once your opponent reaches the point where they have this composition, I don't think there is anything you can really do about it other than play your own version of this unit composition. My suggestion though is that don't transition too quickly. A mistake I see a lot of people do is that if your opponent is pressuring you very heavily, like for instance a steel ball rush or a rhino rush, you can't realistically transition into this composition quickly enough. You're just gonna get destroyed. So make sure to be conservative with your resources, play just enough so that you don't bleed out, and slowly transition into this composition, assuming your opponent isn't immediately trying to cheese you with a strategy. Because depending on what your opponent is doing, this is obviously the core of what you want, but there is oftentimes just a unit or a combination of units that is necessary to beat the short-term strategies that your opponent may try to use to win a game early. But yeah, that's basically a demonstration of the optimal game state. See you next time. I'll stream tomorrow as well. Hopefully a longer stream today. I'm kind of busy, so we'll see.